Hey guys, sorry about that. Daughter came home. Had to get the door. Where was that? Oh, quick review. This is part two of our Griffin Martial Arts Inner Deal. What the heck's Inner Deal? For those that are joining it brand new, quick recap. We have 4 parts of an emotional quadrant of a personality. I developed this over the years of teaching. I'm an 8th degree black belt in Taekwondo. And one of the things that used to frustrate me is that I would teach everybody the same techniques in a class. Only certain people could apply them in certain ways. Other people do them in different ways, and I got highly frustrated. It's like, okay, this person keeps getting hit by the sidekick of this person, and I couldn't figure it out because I taught them both how to do the sidekick, and I taught them both how to do the block, taught them both how to do the counter. But it seemed to me that the personalities overrode or was the default no matter what I taught. So a driver would just do that same technique over and over and over and over and over again, and they had no defense. And what I was watching was 2 driver personalities. A driver personality is one that goes straight ahead. They don't go left, right. They go straight ahead. They don't back up in life, and then it's hard to teach them how to evade techniques because they're so straight ahead. So I had to think, okay, that person keeps getting hit with the sidekick. So I came up with the bump, which is basically bump their leg out of the way, then blast them. Or wait for an opening and then hit them. Or blitz them before they get a chance to attack, because usually drivers aren't very good at blocking. And then the blast is just their favorite technique, what we call bread and butter technique. Recap: expressive, they love to bounce. Expressive personalities are 3-dimensional: forward, back, straight ahead, up, down. Let me say it another way. Number 1, the drivers love to go straight ahead through you. Okay, expressives, they'll go left to right, up, down, forward. Woo! They don't have a problem with motion. So that's their ally. So they like to bounce and then hit you. They like to block. If you initiate a technique, they don't have a problem blocking. If you throw something, they'll block it, hit you, and move off to the side. That's what I call the BAM. Block, attack, and then motion. Breakdown, number 3 for the expressive. I know I'm repeating this, but this is the second one. Broken rhythm. Think of a crossover dribble in basketball. Somebody comes at you, you fake to the right really hard and bounce the ball low to the left and go around them. Ankle breaker. You can Google that on YouTube. Number 4 for the expressive is bop. It's basically a hop plus a blast or a blitz. Drivers love motion, so they'll be hopping, bang, bang, jump up, and then as they're jumping, they might throw 1 or 2 or 3 techniques while they're airborne. Superman punch in MMA is a very good example of that. Number 4, now I'll get back to 3. Number 1 was a logical driver. Number 1 is a driver who takes the path of least resistance straight ahead. Logical love angles. So they like going left, they like going right, they like slide, shuffle, moving out to the side, and then counterattacking on angles. So number 1, 2, 3, 4, blam, base, bridge, biofeedback. The first one, blam, is a blast after you do a leg arm mobilization. What is that? So that's where you take somebody's leg and maybe sweep it a little bit, or take their arm and maybe pull them off balance a little bit, or you push them in the arm as you come over the top with the technique. Basically, you want to immobilize their arm so they can't use it against you. Okay? A bump is just a push. This one you actually want to move a little bit more. So it's a little bit more than a bump as a driver. And then throw your technique. Number 2 of a logical. Block, angle, sidestep, evade. Logical people, if they have to do defense, they do it very well. But they also like to angle, sidestep, and then evade. Don't like to always have straight-on confrontation, so they will evade. Number 3, bridge. They bridge the gap with what we call tactical footwork in the blitz. They might use a 1, 1, 1, 3, something like that, kind of lulling people to sleep. Drivers love right now. Expressives, it's in the moment. Logicals will have a game plan strategically placed at your weakness. Say it again. Logicals will understand what you can and can't do in a moment of stress or de-stress and exploit that. So that's what the bridge is. It's kind of like I'm kind of moving 4 inches forward, 4 inches back, 4 inches forward, 4 inches back. Now, during that back, forward, the other person is relaxed. They're not worried about intimidation. So you go forward, forward, forward. And then as you go forward, it may be 1, 2, and then 3 with techniques coming at you. So that's how we bridge the gap with tactical footwork. Last one is what I call biofeedback. Blast or blitz areas of possible weakness with your strengths. Let me say it again, BAPS. Biofeedback, which is a blast, areas of possible weakness with your strengths. So you as a puncher versus a kicker, you as a puncher versus a puncher, you as a kicker versus a kicker, and you as a kicker versus a puncher. What the heck does that mean? Well, let's say I love to throw punches. I need to be able to throw punches against kickers and against punchers. Or if I love kicking, I need to be able to throw kicks against kickers and against punchers. So I need to have long-range punches to deal with kickers and short-range kicks that I have to deal with punchers. So I don't always want to do the obvious. If I'm punching against a puncher, I might get punched. If I'm throwing punches against a kicker, I might get kicked. So I have to think about what can they not do, and then me exploit that. Hop up, dog. My dog, Leah. So when I'm thinking about let's say, if somebody's good with their hands, maybe I might need to do a kick to cover the distance or keep them at bay and then exploit them with my hands. Or if somebody is really good with maybe 2 or 3 types of kicks. Maybe they're good with linear kicks, but they're not good with circular kicks. So they might be good with front kicks and side kicks, maybe not hook kicks and round kicks. That's an exploitation. I can take advantage of that. Maybe they're only good with spin kicks and jump kicks, so they have to land sometime. So while they're in the air getting ready to jump and execute the kick, or when they're landing, might be a time of opportunity. All right, on to number 4, my favorite. I'm more of an amiable, but we'll see how that rolls. Amiables are the counter fighters. The Bruce Lee, the Chuck Norrises, they let somebody initiate, and they're really good at reacting with stimuli, whether it's verbally, they hear something, visually, or they sense something with their hand, or emotionally they anticipate something. They can feel the pressure, the situation. So amiables taking all that sensory data. Why? Well, go back to the last video. Big brother, little brother, big sister, little brother, whatever. The bigger ones usually hit you when they just because they want to. It's because they have. Now, people out there, if you're too far apart in years, 20 or 30 years from your, that may not work because you might think of yourself as both firstborn, which means you're more likely going to be a driver. I'm getting off topic, but if you're about 3 years or less, you know what I'm talking about. Between the distance between the older brother, big brother, 5 maybe. Big brother's going to say something, do something, wants to do it when he or she wants to do it. The little brother or little sister is going to react to it. When the little brother wants to do something, it's usually in response to the big brother. So, what does that mean? That means if I'm a counter fighter, and let's say I'm going to throw a reverse punch. Could be any technique, but let's say it's a reverse punch. The first one I came up with was a bomb. What is a bomb? Well, World War II, they had atomic bombs, and then later on they had hydrogen bombs. The hydrogen bombs used the atomic bombs to set them off. What does that mean? Well, if I'm an amiable fighter, because my personality is amiable, when somebody comes at me, I'm going to come at them. When they come at me, there's some point of their body that's open. Maybe a rib, maybe a kidney, maybe a half inch here. Some spot on their body when they attack is vulnerable and open. And when I see it, I'm triggered. Okay. Now, if I have this one technique, reverse punch, I have to be able to use it in all different situations. So if somebody's a kicker, I might have to move and punch at an angle without blocking. Okay. So they throw, bam, I just hit them. But I have to be conscious and aware before the strike. Say it again. I need to be conscious and aware before the strike. How do you do that? Well, maybe it's their face. Little brothers, little sisters, when the big brother's mad, you see it on their face and they lash out physically. They can't control their emotions. So they want to go from the emotion or the feeling to slapping you upside your head. So there's a whole lot of steps between there that the eyes, the ears, all that, and amiables read that better than anybody else. So when they have their one technique, which is a reverse punch, they can let the person wind up, get worked up, and then they come in, bam, and you hit them. Think of the old man in the Chinese kung fu movies, the old master. Yes, that's me now. I'm old, now I'm a master. So as they move, they just evade, see the opening, and exploit it. But the person who's the master doesn't just hit them. They are triggered to hit. Kind of went a little long on that bomb. Next one is a blackout. It's basically a single bomb technique to a blind side, i.e. a spin kick when somebody's spinning around and turning. That's a blackout. They can't see you. So amiables hit when the person can't see them. So if you're fighting, let's say, an expressive who loves to do jump spin kicks, the best time to hit them is when they can't see you, because you can move and hit them. They don't know where the heck you're at, and also, bam, they hit. In their mind, they're doing a fancy, advanced technique, and they should be able to hit you because usually amiables are what? Reserved, introverted, laid back. People think they slow just because they're not, the life of the party, like an expressive. They're not taking initiative, like a driver. They don't have a laid out game plan, like a logical, because they react to people better than anybody else. And that reaction, here we go, is what I call the fourth dimension. First dimension, straight line, logical. Second dimension, area, like a circle or a square. X and a Y. That's logical's thing. Oh, they love area. Pi, 22 over 7 or whatever. 3.14 for those that are out there. Expressives, spherical. 3 dimensions. Up, down, side to side, front to back. So what is the fourth dimension? I don't know. Let's look at it like this. This thing. It's a 3-dimensional object. Einstein said the fourth dimension is when a 3-dimensional object moves. Say it again. A 3-dimensional object, once it's in motion, now becomes in the fourth dimension. What the heck does that have to do with fighting and sparring and black belt DNA? Well, I don't have my partner here, but let's say I'm throwing a back fist. And I love this analogy because I use it all the time. If I try to hit too soon, I'm going to hit their arm. If I, bam, get hit and try to throw a punch, it's too what? Too late. So at the time the punch comes out is the time that they're open. We say it again. Time, space, it matters. Or space-time continuum, okay? Space-time. So when they throw the back fist, at that time, that space is open up for me to blast their butt. Okay? So the fourth dimensional fighter is a master of time and space and accuracy. Okay? They may not have a lot of variety of techniques. They don't need to, because when somebody throws a punch, they're open at that time. That space is all theirs. Okay? If I punch too soon, I'm hitting them in the arm. If I punch too late, I'm picking up my glasses. But if I can time it, when they throw the punch, I can block and counter in the fourth dimension. While they're in motion, they're exposing an area for me to exploit. So that's what I call a fourth dimensional fighter. Going on to number 3. Back up. moving backwards and blocking and then firing a bomb. What does that mean? Against someone who attacks, bang, 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 coming in at you, what does the driver like to do? Come straight in and attack. What does an expressive like to do? They like to do multiple techniques. Amiables will back up. They love backing up. That's what they do. They're good at that. So we use that to our advantage. We back up 4 steps out of 5. Say it again. We back up 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, and then come forward on number 5. Okay? So we might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the other person's attacking and they're getting their groove on it, oh, I can beat this man down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they get ready to launch 5, and you hit them and come forward. Okay? So that's what I mean by backing up. So you back up, you kind of lull them into a false sense of what? Security. And the fourth one, and then we're done for today, guys, of our inner deal is the block. That's what the martial arts were designed for, is self-defense. So a block is basically a motion towards a technique, block, and then a blast. High block punch. Someone throws a technique, block, hit them. I saved that for last because that's the simplest one to do. But overall, all 4 are basically who you're going to go against, regardless of what you are. You might be an expressive. You might be fighting a driver. That'll be upcoming videos on how to defeat the other 3. And then we'll have a video series on how to defeat a bigger you. All right, guys, this has been Grandmaster Griffin of Griffin Martial Arts Twin Cities, talking about the inner deal, emotional DNA that we as black belts use, but I kind of coined the term DEAL, and we'll see you guys on the other side.